Something unexpected happened, just like a K-pop fan camp. The neighborhood was lovely. By the time I arrived, the crowd was already massive. We checked the Japan Pavilion, but only people with reservation could enter. And yes! By then, there were already a very long line. I would be lying if I said Hello Kitty wasn't my main reason for being. They were cancelled. I didn't even have the energy to care about other people's judgment. Hi from Tokyo. Today we are heading to Osaka to visit the Osaka Expo 2025. I'm taking the Shinkansen and this is the only footage I got because I was sitting in the middle of strangers. The Shinkansen was completely packed. When I arrived at Shin Osaka Station, I transferred to Osaka Station where I met my sister who came from Nagoya. We decided to explore Dotonbori first. But before that, something unexpected happened. We met Felix from Stray Kids at a Gongcha bubble tea shop. I don't know why he was the only member there or why he was doing the mewing pose, but it was definitely funny. The receipt even has his signature on it. I think Stace will love it so much. Unfortunately, I'm just a casual listener. Anyways, here's my photo with the Felix standee. After that, we walk around Dotonbori. Most of the stores there are the same ones we already have in Tokyo, so we decided not to go inside. Then I spotted the sushi restaurant that I recognized from a rich brand post. So of course, I had to take a picture with the uncle statue outside. We kept walking until we finally found the famous Glico Man. I filmed it from multiple angles, just like a K-pop fan camp. The area was extremely crowded. The only store I actually went into was Book Off, where they had a huge selection of photo cards for sale, but I didn't end up buying any. Since we were tired, we decided to head back to the hotel. On the way, we saw an Ariana Grande commercial, a moment of silence for the real Arianators who didn't get the tickets. I really hope she comes to Japan. Imagine if she comes and I don't get a ticket, that would break my heart. We finally arrived near Dobutsuenmae station where our hotel was located. The neighborhood was lovely, very traditional with food stall, gift shops and cafes. This is the place we stayed in for the week. My sister booked it and it was self-check-in, self-checkout, so there were no staff. I really recommend this place if you're staying in Osaka for a longer period, especially if you plan to spend your days exploring outside rather than hanging out in the hotel. Each room had a washing machine and a small kitchen, so it felt more like an apartment than a hotel. After dropping off our suitcases, we went out again into the neighborhood and grabbed takoyaki. For dinner, we didn't eat anything fancy, we just picked up food from Lawson because we weren't sure how much money we would end up spending at the expo. Yesterday was so chaotic that I completely forgot to show you the room tour, so here it is. It's already messy, but please forgive us. I woke up at 5 a.m. today because I didn't want to be late. I'm not usually a breakfast person, but I grabbed kimbap from Lawson just in case we couldn't find food inside the expo. We took the train to the expo, but honestly, waking up that early turned out to be pointless. I got too confused navigating the station in Osaka. It was my first time here. So in the end, we still arrived exactly at 10 a.m., which in Japan basically means late. The expo has multiple entry times throughout the day, and my ticket was for 10 a.m. By the time I arrived, the crowd was already massive. I panicked a little, but this is normal. If you have a 10 a.m. ticket, you should really arrive at 9 a.m. That's basically the unwritten rule. Thankfully, the lines were separated by entry time, so the 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. ticket holders had fairly smooth access. I did notice the line for 11 a.m. tickets was much longer. Before entering, we had to go through a bag check. I didn't bring any food or drinks because I was afraid they would take them away at the entrance, but actually they don't. You can bring both food and water inside, and I highly recommend bringing water with you if you plan to visit the expo. After lining up for about 40 minutes, we finally entered. The crowd was manageable for day one. By the way, not all pavilions require reservation, many don't, but you do need to be patient with the lines. Our main goal was to visit the Japan and Indonesia pavilions, but we were happy to enter any pavilion that was available. Our first stop was Qatar because it was the closest to us and the wait time was only about 20 minutes. The pavilion was beautiful. The walls were made of giant fabric with glowing lights representing the sea. The theme was a journey through the historic and contemporary significance of Qatar coastal areas. Next, we checked the Japan Pavilion, but only people with reservation could enter. For non-reservation visitors, they told us to line up at 7 p.m., so we decided to come back later. Not long after, we saw an incredible performance outside the United Arab Emirates Pavilion. We didn't go inside, but we were so happy to catch the performance because it wasn't scheduled to happen all the time. Perfect timing. Then we decided to try Portugal because the line didn't look too bad. There was no time estimate shown, but we took the risk and it ended up being only a 30-minute wait, probably because it was still early. While waiting, we could scan a QR code to learn more about the pavilion. The first room was dark with a blue theme installation, which was cool, but what really amazed me was the next room. They show a video called Ocean, the Blue Dialogue. It was created to inspire hope for a sustainable future in our relationship with the ocean. The message was very touching and I was glad I got to experience it. Next, we tried the Indonesian Pavilion, but it was temporarily closed due to overcrowding, so we went to find food. Yes, you even have to line up for food. Luckily, it wasn't too crowded that day, so I managed to get an udon tortilla. It was delicious, but there were no seats, so I ended up eating while lining up for the Indonesian Pavilion when it reopened. Inside, the first thing we saw was Indonesian traditional mask called tum-tum. Then the room opened to a jungle-themed section with Indonesian plants and animal miniatures. After that, we saw an installation about Indonesian culture, including traditional weapons, the faces of Indonesian people, and a cultural heritage. The final room was a theater showcasing Trihitakarana, the fundamental philosophy of Balinese Hinduism that emphasized harmony with the divine, nature, and humanity. At the restaurant area, I ate soto ayam and drank Indonesian black coffee, while my sister had tea. To be honest, I really recommend this pavilion. You don't need reservation to enter, and the experience was very worth it. We walked around some more and stumbled upon a Japanese comedian. I didn't know who they were since I don't really keep up with comedians, but slay, I guess. Then we went to the UK Pavilion because my sister has an obsession with the UK. Unfortunately, the line was closed, so we just visited the gift shop instead. After that, we went into the Malta Pavilion since the wait was only about 40 minutes. It's actually one of the places on my sister's travel bucket list, so we had to check it out. Inside, they had some cool cultural displays. What made Malta Pavilion stand out was that we could actually touch some of the artifacts, which is rare since most places don't let you do that. I touched one that I believe was witch related, and it honestly amazed me. Especially if you've seen my older videos, you know why. In another room, they showed us some videos. Honestly, I think some of it was AI generated. By 5 p.m., the crowds were getting huge. I knew the Japan Pavilion line for non-reservation visitor would open at 7 p.m., but my gut told me to go early. And yes, by then there were already a very long line. If I had waited until exactly 7 p.m., I probably wouldn't have gotten in. We ended up waiting 2 hours. My leg hurt so much that I had to sit on the ground, and surprisingly, many Japanese people did the same, which is rare. A lot of them even brought small portable chairs. Definitely bring one if you plan to visit the expo. When we finally entered the Japan Pavilion, it was already dark outside. From what I understood, the theme was sustainability and recycling. They collect waste from the expo, process it, and transform it into the new materials through advanced technologies like biogas, power generation, and algae cultivation. They also had a Mars rock on display, and I even got a certificate for it, which was very cool. But honestly, I would be lying if I said Hello Kitty wasn't my main reason for being excited about this pavilion. The algae Hello Kitty? That's a sustainable baddie right there! There was also a Doraemon section, but the crowd was too wild for me to film much. Then, I lined up for another hour just to get the algae Hello Kitty keychain. There were supposed to be fireworks and a drone show that night, but since it rained a little, they were cancelled. That means the entire crowd decided to leave at the same time. We had to line up again just to exit the venue. I think I stood up there staring at the flag for over an hour. Honestly, it was fun and amazing, but it felt like half of my day was spent standing in lines. Back at the hotel, I tried some UK beer, but I didn't like it. To be fair, I don't really like alcohol in general. Since hotel checkout was at 11 a.m. and we were heading back to the expo, we decided to leave our suitcases in a coin locker. We were smart about it and used a coin locker near our hotel since we knew it'd be almost impossible to find one near the expo. It was way easier to come back here later instead of wasting time and energy searching for a locker at the venue. For today, our tickets were also for the 10 a.m. entry. I wanted to go earlier than yesterday to avoid the crowds, but my sister insisted that going later might actually be better. She thought that since the gates are divided by ticket time, if we arrive late, there will be fewer people. But little did we know, the crowd that day was triple what it had been yesterday. The staff even told us that no matter what entry time was printed on our ticket, everyone had to use the same line. At that point, I want to crash out. I really want to unleash my alpha wolf energy and fight with my sister. But I knew it wouldn't change a thing. So I just took a deep breath, ate a food we had picked up earlier from Lawson, and tried to calm down while lining up. Thank God we had stocked up on snacks and drinks beforehand. We ended up waiting in line for about an hour and a half. By then, the bottoms of my feet were already in so much pain. I told myself it's okay as long as I can visit at least 2 pavilions today because I had to return to Tokyo tonight. I knew I didn't have much time. My sister's top priority for today was the UK Pavilion, but when we got there, the line was temporarily closed due to overcrowding. She wanted to see it so badly that we decided to just sit near the pavilion and wait for it to reopen. When it finally did, we rushed to line up only to find out it was a 3 hours wait. We lined up anyway. By then, I couldn't stand anymore, so I just sat on the ground. My feet couldn't handle it, and honestly, I didn't even have the energy to care about other people's judgment. While waiting, there was a bagpipe musician playing nearby, which was such a nice surprise. The music really helped ease the boredom and kept us entertained. At one point, my sister showed me her snack, which had gotten completely squished in the heat. Then, the most unexpected thing happened. A bird pooped right on her cheek and ruined her clothes. I couldn't believe it. And honestly, thank God I didn't yell at her earlier at the gate, because imagine being yelled at and then getting poop on. Eventually, we made it inside. The mascot for the UK Pavilion is called Pigs, this square body that I honestly don't know how to describe. The first part of the pavilion involved watching videos. The story was about a Japanese father visiting the UK for work and video calling his daughter back home. Most of the experience inside was video-based, but there was one interactive section where we could press button and join a game. We watched more video afterwards, this time showcasing innovation the UK has contributed in the past, present, and their goals for the future. What surprised me though was there were no mention of any famous UK musician, no Queen, Amy Winehouse, Oasis, or Beatles. I thought that would have been a cool element from a non-UK visitor perspective. And funny enough, I saw many Japanese people lining up for the UK Pavilion wearing band merch from those very artists. After visiting the UK Pavilion, we walked around trying to find any pavilion with a shorter line since we didn't have much time left. But by then, most pavilions had already closed their line due to overcrowding, and the few that were still open had waits of 3 to 4 hours, which we simply didn't have time for. On our way out, we passed by the USA Pavilion. It was extremely crowded, but I managed to snap a quick photo outside. By around 4:30 p.m., we decided to just call it a day. There weren't any pavilion with less than an hour-long wait, and our feet hurt so badly that we could barely walk. Honestly, I wanted to cry from the pain. But we weren't the only ones. Lots of people were leaving at the time too. Thankfully, this time we didn't have to line up again to exit. At one point, I even sat down on top of my suitcase, just completely done with my life. We went back to get our luggage from the coin locker, then headed to Shin Osaka Station to catch our Shinkansen home. My sister returned to her dorm in Nagoya and I headed back to Tokyo. I finally got home at around 10:30 p.m.